Hello friends, a very warm welcome to the Crochet Hook channel. Today we are going to learn how to crochet this beautiful window pane crochet stitch. It's a very simple yet very elegant crochet stitch and can be very well incorporated into a variety of crochet projects. It's a multiple of 12 stitches and 4 rows. Simple stitch pattern to go for. And for my friends who are joining me here for the first time, please do consider subscribing to my channel. That means a lot. I thank you all. So let's begin. So here I have taken yarn of my choice and crochet hook of 2.50 millimeters. As I've already mentioned, this stitch is a repeat of 12 stitches and 4 rows. So then work a slip knot and chain any multiple of 12 plus 3 chains. And here I'm going to chain a total of 51 chains. So just keep counting till you reach a number of 51. We are chaining any multiple of 12 plus 3 chains. Then yarn over and skip 4 chains below and insert the hook into the 5th chain from the hook and work 1 DC. First chain 4 also counts as a DC, so we have 2 DCs now. Yarn over, insert the hook into the next chain, work 1 DC. We have 3 DCs. Again work 1 DC into the next chain, 4. Work 1 DC into the next chain, 5. Work 1 more DC into the next chain, 6. And then yarn over, work 1 more DC into the next chain, 7. So we have 7 DCs in a row. Then chain 2, skip 2 chains below, yarn over and into the 3rd chain, insert the hook, work 1 DC. Like this. Chain 2 again. Yarn over, skip 2 chains below, into the 3rd chain below, work 1 DC. Like this. So this is first repeat of the pattern. Then yarn over and into the next chain, work the 2nd DC. We are going to work 7 DCs in a row. So we have 2 DCs. Then work the 3rd DC into the 3rd chain, 3, till you reach a total of 7 DCs. Into the next chain, work the 4th DC, 4. Into the next chain, here comes the 5th DC. Into the next chain, work the 6th DC and yarn over into the next chain, work the 7th DC. So we have 7 DCs in a row again. Then chain 2, skip 2 chains below, yarn over into the 3rd chain below, insert the hook, work 1 DC. Chain 2 again, yarn over, skip 2 chains below into the 3rd chain again, work 1 DC. So 1 DC is worked and again we'll work 6 more DCs ahead so as to have 7 DCs in a row. So then just keep counting till you reach a number of 7, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Having completed 7 DCs in a row, chain 2, yarn over, skip 2 chains and into the 3rd chain below, work 1 DC. Chain 2 again, yarn over, skip 2 chains below into the 3rd chain, work 1 DC and again go for 6 more DCs ahead, 1 DC into every chain till you reach a total of 7 DCs in a row, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then chain 2, yarn over, skip 2 chains, insert the hook into the 3rd chain below, work 1 DC. Chain 2 again, yarn over, skip 2 chains below, insert the hook into the 3rd chain, work 1 DC. And then this is how it looks. So then from the very first DC till this chain 2, we have one repeat. This is the second repeat of the pattern till here. This is the third repeat and this is the fourth repeat. So we have reached till end. First round is completed and we have a total of 4 repeats. For the round 2, chain 5 and turn the work. Yarn over, skip these 2 chains into this DC below, work 1 DC. Chain 2 again. Yarn over, skip 2 chains below into the next DC. Inside the hook, work 1 DC and then work 1 DC atop every DC below. 6 DCs to be worked. Two. Into the third DC, work the third DC. Then 4, 5, 6 and 7. And then we'll create this pane again. So then chain 2, yarn over, skip these 2 chains into this DC at the top of it, work 1 DC, chain 2 again, yarn over and skip these 2 chains into the very first DC, work 1 DC and then work 1 DC atop all the 6 DCs below. Simple round. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. This is how it looks. Then chain 2 again, yarn over, skip these 2 chains in the next DC, work 1 DC, chain 2 again, yarn over, skip the 2 chains below and then we have 7 DCs ahead, just work 1 DC atop every DC below. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then we have this window pane here. Chain 2, yarn over, skip 2 chains in this DC. Below, work 1 DC, chain 2 again, yarn over, skip the 2 chains below and then we have 7 DCs ahead, just work 1 DC atop all the 7 DCs below. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then here in the top 4th chain inside the hook, work the last DC of this section here. So this finishes 2 rows of the pattern here. This is how it looks. 2 more rounds for the repetition. So then, and now we'll be creating this window pane onto this side and this section of DCs onto this side, just reversing the 2 patterns. So chain 5, this is the round 3 and turn the work, yarn over, skip 2 DCs below. Into the third DC inside the hook, work 1 DC, chain 2 again. So we are creating the window pane here. Then yarn over, skip 2 DCs and in this third DC here, work 1 DC. So atop this DCs we have created this window and then we'll be working DCs. So then yarn over in this chain 2, work 2 DCs, 1 and 2. Then yarn over, atop this DC, work 1 DC, 3 and yarn over in this chain 2, work 2 DCs, 4 and 5. Again, work 1 DC in the next DC. So this finishes a total of 7 DCs in a row like this. And then again we'll go for this window pane above this DCs like this. Chain 2, yarn over, skip 2 DCs below into the third DC, at top of it work 1 DC, chain 2 again, yarn over, skip 2 DCs into the third DC, at the top of it work 1 DC. Again yarn over, work 2 DCs in this chain 2 space ahead, then yarn over, work 1 DC atop this DC below, yarn over, work 2 DCs in this chain 2 space below 1 and 2, and then yarn over, work this last DC of this row in the next DC. So we have again a total of 7 DCs in a row, and then we'll be creating the window pane. So then chain 2, skip 2 DCs below into the third DC, work 1 DC, chain 2, yarn over, skip 2 DCs below in the third DC, work 1 DC. This is how it looks. Then yarn over into this chain 2, work 2 DCs, 1 and 1 more, 2, yarn over into the next DC, work 1 DC. So we have 4 DCs now in a row, 2 DCs in this next chain 2, 1 and 2, 5, 6 made, then yarn over in this last DC here, work 1 DC. So we have again 7 DCs in a row. Then chain 2, yarn over, skip 2 DCs atop the third DC below, work 1 DC, chain 2, yarn over, skip 2 DCs below at the top of the third DC here, work 1 DC, and then yarn over again in this chain 2 space, work 2 DCs, 1 and 2, atop the next DC, work 1 DC, and here in this chain 2 space, work 2 DCs, 1 and 2, and then yarn over in the top third chain here, insert the hook and work the last DC of this row. So here the third row of the pattern gets completed. For the fourth row, again chain 3 and turn the work, yarn over into the next DC, work 1 DC. First chain 3 also counts as a DC, so we have 2 DCs, then again into the next DC, work 1 DC and work 1 DC atop all the DCs ahead. A total of 7 DCs to be worked in a row. 5, 6 and 7. So then chain 2, yarn over, skip these 2 chains at the top of this DC here, work 1 DC, chain 2 again, yarn over, skip the 2 chains below, and then we have 7 DCs ahead. Just work 1 DC atop each of the 7 DCs ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then chain 2, yarn over, skip the 2 chains below in the DC ahead, work 1 DC, chain 2 again, yarn over. Again we have 7 DCs ahead. Just begin working 1 DC atop every DC below. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Chain 2, yarn over, skip the 2 chains in the DC below, work 1 DC, chain 2 again, yarn over. Again we have 7 DCs ahead. Skip the 2 chains below and begin working 1 DC atop each of the 7 DCs below. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Chain 2, yarn over, insert the hook into this DC, work 1 DC, then chain 2, yarn over, and in this skip 2 chains here, in the third chain insert the hook, work 1 DC. So this window pane is created at the end here. So this finishes the 4 rows, 3 and 4, and this is the pattern that you have to repeat over and over to reach your desired length. It's a very simple pattern and looks very elegant too. Have fun crocheting, have fun learning.